Okay, fantastic. All right, so welcome. Call to order the April meeting of the Beaver Dam Lake Protection and Rehabilitation District, 701. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Fred, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Beautiful. All right, quick pledge. All right, so we have a lot to cover tonight, but it's all good stuff. So I'm gonna start with the most obvious thing. Guys, the last time we met, there was no water in the lake. We are finally refilling, and if you can believe it, that news gets a little bit better today. So I'm gonna share my screen with you so that we can all understand what I'm talking about. We're all on the same page. Okay. All right. So we are refilling. So credit to Mr. Bob Harmelin, who took this fantastic picture with his drone a few weeks ago. You can see that we are progressing. So let's chat about the refill plan a little bit. Okay, so currently, and I'll show you a picture of this in a moment, up to hold point 1 is underwater. So that takes us up to about 19 feet. And then according to the refill plan, we had a hold period of 3 weeks. And up to this point, the board was able to collaborate with the DEC, the DPW, and the engineers and get the 6 inches a day plan waived. So we were able to freely refill up to this first hold point of approximately 19 feet. So holding here at 3 weeks, up to the second hold point, we will be refilling at approximately 6 inches a day. Right now, refill is really an art as much as it is a science. And so some days it may be a little more, some days it may be a little less, but approximately 6 inches a day up to hold point 2. At hold point 2, which is at approximately 28 feet, for all intents and purposes, the lake is really going to look like it's full. It may not be all the way up to every shoreline, especially in the far side of the lake. But when you look out your window, you're going to see lake. So at that point, it will be held for another 3 weeks, and then it will be allowed to refill the remainder and flow over the fuse gates. So that's the current plan that's in place. So this is just a kind of a picture of what it looked like a couple weeks ago. There's hold point 1 right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but most of that old construction is underwater, and this is right around where we have been holding. That being said, let me stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm going to read the email that we got as an update just this morning from DPW. The contractor has been working on completing the punch list items, but still have a couple items to complete, such as programming and training the electric actuators for the sluice gates. So right now, they're manually being opened and closed, but they will be able to be operated electronically. The minimal leakage observed during the first hold period has been reviewed by our consultant, and we have been informed that it is not a dam safety issue and will not impact the refilling of the lake. Today marks 3 weeks since the start of the first hold period. We have reviewed the observation reports and with our consultant and received clearance from them to move on from our first hold period and to continue filling the lake per the refill plan. So again, the gates are closed. We are refilling up to hold point 2, which is going to be, for all intents and purposes, a full lake. So we're very excited about that. We will continue allowing the lake to refill to an elevation just below the fuse gate spillway, and then we'll be required to hold the refilling at that elevation for a second hold period of 3 weeks. After the completion of the second hold, the lake will be allowed to rise to its normal operating level and flow over the spillway, completing the refilling of the lake. I hope this is helpful for your meeting, and hopefully the residents will be excited to see the lake refilling again. DPW staff have been doing everything we can to expedite the process. So that's the email that I received today. So our gates are just about closed again, and we are refilling. And if you have checked out the lake in the last day, you can see that that's the case. So someone mentioned a little while ago that we're expecting rain over the next couple of days. Let it pour. Very exciting. But you can expect that it likely won't happen as quickly as the first hold period did, by nature of the fact that we're limited a little bit to how much we can fill a day, and also the space on the lake is much greater that the water is extending out to now. So stay tuned, we should have a lake. Okay. Board members, anything to add to that?
Good job explaining it, Erica. Just a couple of points to add to it. The hold points are not just arbitrary, let's hold it for 3 weeks. There's a lot of hands in the pot which are involved with that. You got the DPW, you got GZA, which is a inspection company, you got OBG, which is the engineering company, and you got the DEC. The DEC gave us approval to go forward. What happens during these 3-week hold periods is the DPW comes out once every day or once every 2 days to look for seepage through any of the areas. And from there, they send that information down to GZA to say if there is any, is that acceptable or not acceptable? So they're pretty busy doing it. It's not just like holding it for 3 weeks and nothing's going on. There's a lot of inspections that are going on. The other part is Erica had highlighted the next hold period will be at, what is it, 3:30? When you get up to 3:30, what that means to us, for all intents purposes, like Erica said, will be pretty much predominantly filled, but you're about 6 inches below the top of the fuse gate. What happens is you'll see during the first hold period, you see the level go up in the lake and you see the level go down. And the reason for that, like Erica said, again, it's not a science, it's more of an art. So the DPW has learned a lot in the last 3 weeks how to try to control lake level, because it's predominantly a function of what's coming down with the rain and how wide open the fuse gates have to be able to control it. So you'll probably see the same thing also when you go to the second hold level. So don't be concerned when you see level not being held exactly where it is. It might go up a little, it might go down a little, but their job is to try to maintain it within those ranges going forward. And that is about it. Otherwise, great job, Erica.
All right, so to that end, unless there's other comments from the board about the specific dam project update and the lake refill, anything?
No, good.
Colette, Fred, you good? Great, okay. Moving on to kind of another exciting topic, the beach and lifeguards. So the board has to make a decision tonight about the hourly rate for lifeguards so that we can get folks hired and open up our beach this summer. So I sent information prior about the average base hourly rate for Orange County for lifeguards is approximately $14.50. My suggestion is that we accept a base rate of $15, going up to $18.60 per hour for the supervising lifeguards. The reason that it's a little bit higher is because the average salary for the Orange County lifeguards didn't account for the fact that they have to be open water certified, which is an additional certification. So I guess we can start there. Are we, board members, any comments about that or thoughts about that?
No, it sounds good to me.
Okay.
And
we did look over
the increase.
We did look over the job description for lifeguards, and we were able to find that if they are, like, say they show up to work and the beach has to be closed for some reason, we are able to have them do some administrative duties and to do some water safety type lessons with kids in those areas. So we will have side jobs for them to do in between when the beach is not able to be open also. So that was a question that board members had raised this week. So if we are okay with that, can we say that that will be the accepted rate that we will give to the county so that we can get the jobs posted? Yes.
I think so, yes.
Kevin makes a motion to accept between $15 and $18.60 per hour for the lifeguards. Does anybody second? Dave seconds. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Great. So if you are a resident who has interest, or you have a teenager who happens to have interest, you can send us an email and we can get you details about the requirements. So lifeguards must provide proof of successful completion of coursework required, including American Red Cross or equivalent certifications in lifeguard training, waterfront lifeguard, and CPR for the professional rescuer. They must also be 16 years of age or older, 18 years of age or older to be a supervising lifeguard. So if you're interested, or your teenager might be interested, email the bdlboard@gmail.com address, and we can make sure that you get the job descriptions, because we'd love to give priority to folks who live right here. In addition, we will also need volunteers to oversee the beach a little bit this summer. We were hoping to kind of go in a different direction and potentially hire a consultant for beach management this summer, but we weren't sure if we were going to quite have the lake or not. So we didn't want to get into, financial commitments that we weren't sure of yet. So we will need some volunteers to oversee the beach. If you are interested in volunteering at the beach this summer, which sounds like an awesome, cushy job, please email bdlboard@gmail.com and let us know you're interested in volunteering. Anything further on the lifeguards in the beach?
Erica,
Mhm.
one of the things that a few of us attended in the first aid course given by the county was the use of I think it's called the AED apparatus, which is the defibrillator. Is this something that the lifeguards are part of their training, or is this something that we have to address?
Yeah, it's part of the CPR for the professional rescuer. It's included.
Good.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, moving on. The Lake Health Committee, Walter, did you want to speak on that?
Sure. The Lake Health Committee, the primary two focuses over the last couple months have been predominantly getting the dam work finished, no pun intended, and also the lake refill. Now that this is well underway, we're going to reconvene and start getting the Lake Health Committee going. I'm proposing right now at the next meeting date will be April 29th, which is a Thursday at 6 p.m. And all those that are volunteers who want to be supporting that, Erica, I guess Erica, you'll send out the meeting invite for that.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be transitioning from the construction of the dam and the lake refill over to the lake health, which is the next phase. We had, one of the things we need right now, and prior to all of this, is everybody who is a lakefront owner, you are the eyes and ears of what we need to try to control what's coming into our lake. We had a resident last month, which did a great job. She called us and told us, hey, look, there's a sewage line down on her property that periodically when we have too much rain, floods out the sewage line, and there's toilet paper laying around the lawn, and it's actually flooding into the lake. That's exactly the kind of behaviors we need from all the residents that are lakefront property owners. Let us know if you see stuff like that, because we need to be aware so we can get involved. From that, we did call the town of New Windsor. I spoke to the supervisor for the town of New Windsor. He actually sent individuals out right away to remediate it. We put him on notice to let him know that that's completely unacceptable to have stuff like that coming into our lake, obviously. He explained what they're doing and what they plan on doing. So we're going to continue to monitor that. And we also we tied Orange County into that as well. Erica, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the RFP right now is out also for the going out for a company that'll be providing the treatments for the lake. Is that correct? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, so that's happening, so we can figure out what the recommendation is for what types of treatments we might need this year.
Okay. So we're going to be working on that right now to try to get that company involved for that aspect of it. And the last thing, again, for not just lakefront owners, but anybody who lives in close proximity to the lake, Right now it's spring, everybody's putting lawn fertilizer on it. Make sure that when you're applying any lawn fertilizer, that the middle number on your fertilizer is a 0 for the phosphorus aspect of it. I did actually call True Green, and they convinced me that any treatments that they do around here in Beaver Dam Lake area, that everything they apply is phosphorus free, so it's not going to be contributing to the lake. So that's a good thing. So that's pretty much all I could provide at this point. It's going to be reconvening. We'll be spinning it up. We're going to get Tom Coral heavily involved again. The next meeting will be, like I said, on April 29th. That's it.
Beautiful.
There you go,
I
Tom.
think Tom Coral just got voluntold. I also have a note in the box. Thank you, Wally. Are you still involved with the dam inspections regularly? So I'm taking that to mean our board members going out and checking out the dam on a daily basis. And Walter has been doing that quite a bit, and so have the other board members. And then we have weekly call or bi-weekly calls at this point with DPW to monitor progress.
Yeah.
So did you have a more specific question than that, Mike T? Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I've been going out pretty much once a day.
did you have-
I've been going out at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. I'm looking at least minimum of 3 things. One is to look for any seepage coming through anything that we can feed as input to the DPW. We're monitoring the positions of the 24-inch gate and the 18-inch fuse gate to see how they're being adjusted for level refill. And then we're looking at the upstream side to see actually what is the rate of infill, how many inches we're going up or inches going down. That's it.
Thank you. And then since we're on you anyway, you want to talk about fish restocking?
Sure. It's kind of cool, this whole thing, because if you think about it, this is our lake, this is our community. We want it to be perfect. We want to 4 with everything to the best of our ability. We're starting kind of like from scratch, which is true but not true. What we are actually starting to see is that there are some fish already in the lake. When we're down by the dam area, we're actually seeing some signs of catfish, ironically, and also some bluegills and stuff. So there are actually on the lake side, there actually is some fish in there already. But more importantly, from a lake restocking, we do have a budget available for addressing that. We are going to work with the company who is going to be involved with the lake health aspect of this to make sure that we're not going to do things out of sequence. We don't want to put fish in if they're not going to survive. It's just throwing money to the wind. Fish do need oxygen to live. What we do want to make sure is that the saturated oxygen in the lake is not going to be low to the point where the fish can't survive because of the vegetation that'll be decaying in the lake. So we want to make sure we do it at the right time. The other point too is that Steve Newhouse, from Orange County, speaking to him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he expressed a strong interest in being involved with this. He has a very, very high level passion for fishing. So he recognizes where we're at, where we're going. He has a lot of background knowledge. So he actually wants to be involved also with us to try to help get that going, which is really good. That's pretty much it. But we will be looking for volunteers to be involved with that also. But it's a little bit cart before the horse if we start putting fish in before we get the lake health where we need it to be. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Not here.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm moving on to docks and alterations of the lake bed in a new way. So we were hoping to have Mike Fratz, who is from the DEC, here tonight to give us a little bit of insight into the DEC permit program for specific types of docks. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here tonight, but he did send us some great information, which I'm going to show you in a minute, including his contact information. So our plan is to invite him back to a meeting specifically about docks and plans for lakefront property owners who want to do things with their property on and in the lake. So when we do that, we'll also record it and make it available on the YouTube channel. So if you have really specific questions, you could always log into that meeting. I'll send the info out for it. But I think some of the things he sent may provide folks with the information that they need in the first place. So bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay. So this is just an overhead photo of our lake here. And then as you look through the links to learn more about the types of permits you need, it's useful to know that our entire lake is classified as a Class B lake. So that means it's mostly for recreation. It's not a drinking source. The rest of the information on this slide, and I will send this out via PDF in an email, just helps you to understand which specific laws the permits are in reference to, and how violations are managed. So in the YouTube link from this meeting, I'm going to include all of these links in the notes underneath so that you can go and look at exactly what's relevant to what you're looking to do. So for most of the information from residents that we've received recently, what they're looking to do is put in a dock with some footings or a floating dock. So that's this third link here: construction, reconstruction, or expansion of docking and mooring facilities. So you'd be able to click that link and it will take you to the specific regulations regarding how to put in a dock. And again, we hope to have Mike here again to answer really specific questions in the future. So this also covers if you're planning on doing anything like in terms of disturbing the lake bed or putting a piece of machinery in it. That being said, these are the actual links to the permits that you might need. So again, all of this will be included in the notes. And this is potentially the most valuable thing that I'm going to give you on this. It's his direct contact information. So you're able to reach out to him directly. He's even come out a couple of weeks ago and was able to look at a resident's property and give a yay or nay and his opinion and some best practices on what they wanted to do going forward with the project. So it's really great to just contact him directly if you have any specific questions on this. That being said, if you're planning on doing any type of docking or alteration with the lake bed, please touch base with the board ahead of time. This is actually an excerpt from our bylaws that no vehicle or apparatus, let me zoom just at something, shall be allowed to be or go upon the lake bottom without prior written approval from a board member, a designee, and valid permit from state and other applicable agencies. So this just helps us to make sure that you've consulted with the right folks, because the board is not in the business of preventing lakefront property owners from beautifying their land and making the lake more accessible to them and making the lake more usable to them, as long as it's not impacting the health of the lake. So we want to help you do what you want to do. Are the docks that are currently being built legal? Have the homeowners gotten permits? So a lot of the homeowners that you see putting in docks right now have been working with the DEC. And to my knowledge, yes. Anything that we've seen where there's been things on the lake bed that did not receive any type of approval, the board members have dealt with directly with those homeowners. So I'm not saying that we see everything all the time, but when it's brought to our attention, we have dealt with it. Also, the DEC does reach out to us as a courtesy every now and then. And if we already know what the heck is going on and what your plan is, it's a lot easier for us to talk to them about it. So please reach out to the board first. We can help you figure out what you need. And then of course the DEC. So make sure I don't have anything else to say about that. Does anyone have anything to add, board members?
Yeah, the only thing I would add, Eric, is that
No, thanks.
as a board, our job basically is to be an interface between the residents and the agencies, primarily Orange County, but it also includes the DEC. It helps make everybody's life a lot easier if we're tied in, like Erica said up front, rather than us learning about it on the back end and trying to play catch up with it. Often we are getting calls by the DEC or Orange County saying they've been notified by a resident for something, and we know nothing about it, so we're trying to play catch up. So just as a courtesy, if you would please tie Erica in on the upfront part of that with any issues you have that you feel you need to go to Orange County with, or the DEC or any other agency. So it just makes life easier for everybody if we do it that way.
Thank you. Great. So again, we will plan to have a meeting with Mike, and if you have really specific questions about a doc that you're planning to put in, you can contact him directly. Or if you just want to hear more general best practices, you can log into that meeting or watch it later on YouTube. All right, next item for discussion, parking permits. So as our lake, refills and people are noticing, right? So we want to nip trespassing in the bud, and we want to handle that from inside out. So Mr. Fred works diligently on all of the parking permits and boat permits that come in. So I'm going to show you the county website, show you where you can access the form to fill out, and we're going to highlight some things that are important for you to remember so that Mr. Fred doesn't have to hunt you down to get more backup documentation from you. So after discussion of stickers versus placards, it was noted actually in our bylaws that we must have something that adheres to the vehicle. We also still have a lot of parking and boat permits left over. So what we're gonna do is if you already have a sticker on your car and on your boat, then we're extending that to 2022. So you don't have to do anything at all if you have stickers on your car and boats. And at which point we can reevaluate it again. If you do not have a sticker for your vehicles or your boats, you will need to apply for one, and they're free. And I'll show you the website in a moment of exactly how to do that. Let me just close this right now and show you that. So just to make your life easier, I also put the link to this in the same email that you used to click on this Zoom meeting. So if you look down by the signature, you'll see 3 links listed. One is for parking permits. One is for this general website. So you can check it out. This is the Orange County Beaver Dam Lake website. There's a lot of really good information here. Someone asked earlier about watersheds and inlets, so you can view some maps. You can look up information on water quality. Our vegetation report is here. A lot of really good information. Here it is right here, your resident permit program link. So you'd click that and it would take you to the rules and the application to actually fill out. Okay. So that's
Erica,
how you would.
You want to go through the process of how they get to this particular link by going into
Sure.
the county, then DPW and things like that?
Nope, you don't have to do any of that. You just click the link in the bottom of the email that had this Zoom on it.
Beautiful.
Or you can even Google Orange County Beaver Dam Lake, and this is the website that comes up.
Excellent, excellent.
So we try to make it easy as possible. Also, this is the link to our YouTube channel if you want to view past meetings. This is our email address. So there's a lot of really great information right here on our homepage. These are the board members if you want to harass somebody that isn't me. And a lot of really good information. So check it out. Most of the questions I answer can actually be, the answer can be found on this website. So peruse around, check it out, but then you click the resident permit program link and it will take you to where you can get that application. There we go. There's the application and the policies around those things. Okay?
Can I add something to that, Erica?
Sure.
A bit of advice to all of the applicants. One of the biggest things that failed to come in are copies of the vehicle DMV registrations. I don't know whether we didn't highlight it enough on the application. I think Erica has changed that, but and don't be afraid to send us copies of driver's licenses or registrations, because all of that gets shredded after I or whoever sees it, and it gets applied to the permit information. So nothing of any personal nature is being maintained.
Awesome. Thank you, Fred. And also, if you don't have a printer, you don't want to print it at home, we did print out the vehicle and boat permit applications, and they're right outside the community building door. in the mailbox. Okay, not our postal mailbox, the one right next to the door with the big red door on it. So we do have that available as well. So that being said, I've gotten a lot of concerns about trespassing as the lake is refilling, especially with all these wonderful neighbors that we're getting that are building developments around us that, you know, are not part of the district. So that being said, get your permits, get yourself situated especially if you plan to park on the reserves and use those properties. Definitely if you have a boat, because at some point we're going to be working again with the local PDs to really start ticketing and towing at the owner's expense, which I can show you. This is the not fun part of this gig here. This is in our bylaws that we are able to tow vehicles for trespassing and fine folks for being on the properties. Okay, so get your permits in. Now you know how to do it. Share it far and wide. I'm also going to be sending it out via email. Tell your neighbors, please, we don't want to see residents being towed because they didn't get a sticker. All right. Also, we're going to be working to identify unmarked and abandoned boats that are left on the reserve properties and seek to remove them through the proper channels if they are not tagged, and also if they're chained to the fence and severely damaged. So if you have a boat like that that's down on one of the reserves, please take care of it so that we don't have to find you. All right, anything to add on that? No, okay.
Yeah, the only question, Eric, is that the picture that you had of the child there looked remarkably like Fred. How did you find that?
Oh, you know what? That's actually a real photo of Fred.
That looks
I
just like
found
him. It's crazy.
on Ancestry.
I deny all responsibility for that picture.
So apply to Mr. Fred for a parking permit and don't get a ticket. All right. So on
Could
to
I
more
ask a
interesting.
question?
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Ross.
I noticed that the permits all deal with cars and so on. As you may remember, I use my lawn tractor to get the boat down to the water. Nice, it doesn't take up any room, don't need to take up the car parking space. So from what you're telling me is that's verboten now. You're gonna need a car.
So, if I
Anybody
may,
got any objection or you see?
if I may, Erica, to use a vehicle like that to bring a boat in or take the boat out, to me, it's not a big deal. It's not like you're going to be leaving it there all day. And that's our concern, as you know, Bob, is because you've been on this for many years, is people that are not residents here. That's the main thing. If you're going to bring something to bring your boat down or bring a boat back, personally, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. It was just so easy for me. I designed and built a trailer specifically for being able to launch at Beaver Dam Lake in shallow water. It's a low slung trailer. You just drive it in, the thing slides off. You're not even in the water half the time.
Great idea.
Anyway, I
Great
just wanted
idea.
to raise that question because, okay, I'm good.
So what I would say is Fred and Bob, if you could connect offline and maybe figure out just what works the best. I don't think anybody's gonna.
Really not an issue because the boat itself probably has a sticker, right, Bob?
Yeah, I gotta get my stickers up
Yeah.
to date in my car.
And the
I'm
whole
gonna get
reason
one
for
for
the
the
boat
tractor.
sticker, the whole reason for the boat sticker is in case it's found floating someplace, we know whose it is. But as
I'll
far as
take it home.
the vehicle you use to bring it to and from, it's not a big deal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the other thing I'd add, Eric, is minor point, if you want to put a sticker on the tractor, you can do that. But more importantly, Bob, the only thing I would request, if you need help at all, if you feel it's
Yes.
a safety issue trying to do it, please give us a call so we can
Yes.
help you.
Yes. Good
No,
I
point.
don't think I'll be doing all of it, probably my kids.
Okay. If you need help though, please give us a call.
I do see a couple of comments. Officer Bedetti, just watch out for those Cornwall police unregistered tractor on the road. Are you not Cornwall police
Yeah.
officer?
But don't worry about it, that's my problem.
Another question, can you transfer a car parking permit if you trade in a vehicle as part of purchasing a new one? Fill out a new application, they're free. You don't have to purchase a parking permit, just fill out another one.
Again, if you trade in a car or sell it, please remove the sticker. Because if it's so purchased by Joe Schmott and Dots in Wallkill, this way he can't just come over and use the lake at his, whenever he wants to. So remove the sticker and I don't need it back.
Okay, so then thank you, Fred. And then the other question, we have 4 cars. Do we need a permit for all 4? I think that there's space to do 3, right?
Yeah. 3 vehicles,
Okay.
4 boats.
3 vehicles, 4 boats. So if someone has 4 cars, Fred, how do you usually handle that?
Generally, we only issue a maximum of 3. And I don't see why somebody would need to have all 4 vehicles with a permit to go down to the reserve. But
Okay.
that was designed before I got involved.
Okay, yeah, if you have 4 vehicles registered at, they have to be registered at your residence, and if they are, just shoot me an email and we can figure out
Yeah.
on a case by case.
We'll work out
Because I think
something.
that many. Okay,
Yeah.
so those are all of the questions I see on that for the moment.
Yeah, but I think your point, Fred, is that, like, for example, down at the beach area, you have, like, I don't know, 10 parking spaces. If you're going down to the beach for the day, do you really need take all 4 cars down to the beach that day? Probably not.
Precisely.
Okay.
I think what they were saying is like if you have a big family and only someone's going down and your car is the one that doesn't have a sticker and you want to go down to the beach, if you live further up back in the lake, then you're not gonna be able to park. So like it doesn't happen to me, but I'm just saying, if you live further back and your family went to work and your car is the one that doesn't have the sticker and you want to go to the beach, then you don't have a permit on it.
If that's a major problem, let us know. We'll get you a sticker.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, being devil's advocate.
Yeah.
you know my problem walking.
Okay. So what is the max parking spots in each of the reserves? I counted 19 marked spots on reserve 4. Listen, if you have more than 3 cars, just send us an email and we'll get it figured out on a case by case basis. My kayaks lost their sticker. Should I just re-register them or can I obtain another sticker? Same as my vehicles that were registered before. Reapply.
Yeah.
Okay. Just reapply, get yourself a new sticker. It's a new season in Beaver Dam. We have a lake again. If you don't have a sticker, apply for one. And please do so sooner rather than later so that you don't find yourself with a ticket on one of our reserves. And also that we can identify trespassers so that we don't have a ton of people who don't belong here parked in our water that we pay taxes for.
An interesting point, Erica. I just thought about it. When we still had a lake, because of the PFOS and the PFOA, we were on a catch and release limitation. And I'm sorry to hit you with this all of a sudden. Are we going to now have to get additional testing once we restock the lake to allow catch and keep versus the previous catch and release limitations? This is something I just thought about the other day.
Okay, so I'll get more information from you about that. I think it has to do more with the entire watershed and figuring out what's still coming into the lake. I know that there's efforts being made at Stewart Airport to ensure that the runoff is free of PFAS, but in my opinion, more could be done. So that's a great question and I'll get more info and I will get back to you on that. Okay, so Unless we have more to say on that, I'm going to shift one more time to some of the events that we have had going on at the lake. So we had our Easter Bunny ride around, and I just want to throw out some shout outs. Thank you, Chris Bowl, if you're on, who is an alumni of our board, for, of course, driving around the Bunny Mobile. Kevin Boyle for donating the costume. Christine Little and Jamie Wise for coming down to the building and socially distance stuffing 500 eggs full of candy. But oh my goodness, we put it out there for folks to donate candy, and the response was absolutely insane. The amount that we had, crazy. We had candy left over. There were so many eggs. The kids loved it. So thank you if you donated candy or eggs or participated in that. We had a great time, and shout out to Mr. Miskovic, who donned the bunny costume. I'm sorry, we had the actual real Easter bunny.
Yeah, come on. Give us a break.
I know. Forgive me. Okay, so thank you guys again for that event. And the most popular event ever in Beaver Dam Lake, the community yard sale, is coming back courtesy of Miss Christine Little, who is a rock star volunteer. Get out of the candy, you're making noise. Miss Christine Little, who's a rock star volunteer, is planning to run this again. We are not charging anybody because we are not putting an ad in the paper this time around. We kind of polled shoppers at the last yard sale and found out that they were really learning about it online through social media and through shared postings like that. Nobody really said they were seeing it in the paper anyway, so we're not going to waste the time, effort, and money to collect and put it in the paper. So it will occur this year, June 5th, which is a Saturday, with a rain date of June 6th, which is Sunday. I received confirmation that the registration form is all set, so I'll send it out via the community email. Please, when you return it, Christine's email address is on it. Please send it to her, not to the board. It just makes things easier that she get all of those things so that she can set up everything that she needs to make it successful. And we'll create a community map like we usually do, put it in the info boxes, and work to get the word out there. So I'm very excited. Thank you, Christine, again, for all of your help. That's not an easy event to put on. So excited that somebody took it on again. Board members, any questions on community yard sale or Easter Bunny ride around? The Easter Bunny was fantastic. All right, great. All righty. So for residents forum, I just want to address a couple of emails that we were sent. One was on security of trespassers. So I think we addressed that a little bit, and we will continue to address that going forward.
Excuse me,
Debris at
Erica.
reserve.
This is Tom Cardinal. I'm going to have to leave the meeting to take a phone call, okay? Just want to
Okay.
thank you all for doing a great job. You're really fantastic. Have a good
Thank-
evening.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye-bye.
So there is debris at some of the reserves. They're just old tree stumps, so we have asked to have those removed. It's taken a little bit longer than I would like, but stay tuned. Reserves 5 and 8 will be cleared of the tree stumps that you see. If you want some tree stumps, you can certainly come and get them. Reserve 5 and 8. And we already talked about the sewage leaking into the lake and requested, I'll reiterate this, all residents to be eyes and ears to help identify potential challenges with lake health. So, if you see something like that, just shoot us an email letting us know, and we'll address it. I'm seeing, are there any regulations regarding increasing air traffic over BDL? No, not to my knowledge. I do know, though, that if you have a drone, there are certain certifications that you have to get to fly this close to the airport. So just make sure if you have a drone and you're trying to take really cool pictures of our lake, that you have the proper certifications to do that. But as far as like airplanes, not to my knowledge, no.
If you have an airplane, make sure it has a sticker.
Fred's now taking on airplane permits at this point. Okay, so and the other thing that I wanted to address, if you are doing any landscaping and you live next to one of our reserves, please make sure that the landscaping stays on your property. We have a landscaping contract and we do not wish to have any conflicts with that contract. Are there any other resident questions or concerns that we can answer for you tonight? We covered a ton.
Hey, Erica, it's Monique and Nicholas. We jumped in a little late. So awesome meeting, very informative. By the way, my daughter's 4 months old and absolutely loved the Easter Bunny, so thank you for that.
Thumbs up to their-
I just had a quick question for the docs. Now, I think it was Mike or Matt you had mentioned earlier from the DEC. Would you be able to send out like his email address, or is there someplace I can grab his email address if we had specific questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is the links he sent, I'll put in the notes for the YouTube channel, but also I'm going to send out those slides that he sent as a PDF to all residents. So it's the last slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Fred, reminder, dog walking is not permitted on reserves. And Joe and Cindy, what are the duties of a beach volunteer for the summer? So we can chat more about that. We kind of have to outline it anyway. I will email you specifics on that. But thank you. Any other resident questions or concerns? Do we think that Lake Health will allow for restocking this year? When we talked to Northeast Aquatics, they had seemed very optimistic about how soon that we can start restocking. And it was a nice surprise to see that we have fish that are already in our lake. I would say that from what I understand, yes, but I would defer to Wally for more information.
Yeah, what we heard from Northeast Aquatics is that we presume it's probably going to be okay, but we don't want to rush into and start spending all the budget money putting fish in if they're just going to die. So we want to proceed it. So from an informed standpoint to make sure we know what we're doing. There are some fish in there already. There's many aspects of it too. You just don't go put fish in. You actually have to put feeder fish in for the fish when you do that. So everything has to be able to survive from an ecosystem standpoint. So the only thing I would encourage, though, just it's a good lead in for that. If anybody's interested in being involved with the fish restocking, get in touch with Erica to get in touch with me to be involved with that, because that'll be a volunteer program as well.
Seeing as how fish restocking is just about the most popular thing that I've ever heard of happening at Beaver Dam.
It's got to count me in there.
What is the date of the garage sale? Again, June 5th, rain date, June 6th. Any other questions? Comments, concerns for the good of the order? All right. Not seeing anything. Okay. Well then, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait. Okay. There was a specific question. I will email you about a particular property. Okay. The Penning property. Oh, that's the greenhouse out front. From what I understand, I think I heard that it's going to be pickleball courts and like athletic facilities.
Well, if you notice, there's a for sale sign that's back up facing Route 94. So I've got a sneaky feeling that may have fallen through. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Can't get sewer lines.
They can't get sewer lines. Okay. So stay tuned. I don't have more specific information on that. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Kevin, Fred second. All in favor?
All right.
All right.
right. Have a great night, guys. Thanks so much.
Nice job, Erica. Nice job.